Hey there.
Hi,
You able to hear me okay?
I can hear you just fine. Can you hear me?
I can. Perfect.
Cool. It's the first time I've done one of these, so
Well, good. You made
yeah,
it here, so that's pretty awesome in itself.
right.
I was having trouble I went ahead and resent the link out to everyone because whenever I would go in, one of the students emailed me earlier today and said that she was having some difficulty. So whenever I went back in and clicked on the link, I was running into the same problem. So we got
Gotcha.
a broken link in there somewhere. So hopefully you were able to just pull it through your email. I'm
I
hoping.
was. I
Okay,
was. Yep. Yep.
good deal. All right, good deal.
Oh, there you go. She hear me? I don't know. She might. I have no idea. Doesn't look like it.
Hey there. How are you,
Hi,
Christy?
Judy. I am.
Good. It's nice to meet you.
Thank you. Nice to meet you too.
You bet. Welcome to class. I'm going to kind of be flipping back and forth just because I want to go in and take a look. I haven't checked over the last few days just to see if we had any more register for the class. So I want to make sure and get to know everyone's names, and I have everyone doing, I have a lot of students. Wow. Holy moly. We have a lot of students in this class. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. That's awesome. Looks like we have 24. That's great. Nice size class. So we're going to give it just a couple more minutes. The session is a recording, so you can always access the recorded sessions. Typically after I end the session, it will download, and then I will convert it to a YouTube video, okay? And so then whenever I convert it to a YouTube video, I'll pop it into the class and whatever unit we're working on, and then you can go back and watch it again if you choose to do that, okay? So we'll see if a few more people dial in. We may have more that are actually going to want to watch the recordings, but I always highly suggest that you try to attend some of the sessions live, because that's hopefully your uninterrupted time with your instructor so that you can ask questions. And if there's a concept that you don't understand, we can thoroughly get confused together. And then hopefully just be able to talk through it. And this is just a way, because all of you are taking these first few courses just online, so you can tend to feel a little siloed, like you're out there in the world all alone and you're trying to figure it out. And so this is just our way that we bring the seated course to you. It gives you an opportunity to sit in class with me, with other instructors. You'll see Zoom sessions offered in your other courses too, and it's your time to go to class. So if you read the announcements, and I'm just going to kind of share my screen. We're going to try to get through this session in about 35 to 40 minutes. I typically don't like to keep you a full hour. That's just a little bit too long. So we'll try to get through in about 35 to 40 minutes. And if you have any questions, honestly, it's just us. So we'll see if anyone else dials in. But, you know, feel free to just ask me. You can interrupt and ask questions. I want to make sure that you're really comfortable with the expectations of the class, how to navigate through the class. So we want to do our best to get those questions answered tonight so that you kind of get a feel for what you need to be working on, okay? Hi, Erica. How are you? Thanks for joining. So I was just telling them here in just a minute, we'll give it just another minute or two to see if anyone else dials in, and then I'm going to share my screen. And what I'm going to do is I'm just going to get you oriented to your course and show you where things are. Canvas is really easy to work with because for the most part, you can access any of the links on whatever page you're on, which is really nice. As opposed to some of the systems that we used before. So I'm going to share my screen now. And we're going to go ahead and get started and do a tour. Let's see. Let me go back just 1 second. All right. Okay, so now we're in the class. I'm going to go back up to the dashboard. Okay, so my dashboard is going to look a little bit different than yours because I have access to several more courses than what you have to worry about having access to. So we're going to go into 19 Fall Bioacoustics, which is the course that you're currently taking with me. And this is the first course in the beginning of your hearing instrument science program, okay? So what we're doing in this course, as well as some of the other 100 level courses, is we're kind of building the foundation, a nice solid foundation for you to get a feel for what the profession is all about. And then your other courses will build upon these. So you're going to see terminology in this course that you will see throughout the remainder of your program. Whether you're doing the certificate or the degree program, a lot of this terminology and vocabulary is going to pop up again and again and again and again, okay? So, but the bioacoustics course is really the physics of sound, is really what we're studying about. So you see the course title at the top. Can you see my mouse moving around?
Yes.
Are you able to see that? Perfect, because I'll use it for my pointer. All right, and so you have your menu down the left-hand side. It reads kind of like a book. And then you also have a menu down the right-hand side, okay? And so sometimes you'll see me pop into student view because I like to be able to see exactly what you're looking at. My screens are always going to be more busy just because I have a lot more things that I need to be able to get in and out of with managing the class. So down the left-hand side, you will see the syllabus. And so have all of you had an opportunity to read the syllabus yet?
Yes.
Yes? Okay, good. And so the syllabus is the Bible for your class. Anything and everything, all of the rules and regs, everything's right there in your syllabus. So it's really important that you review it. So I'm glad to know that you have already read the syllabus and you're familiar with what the expectations are. And so on the first page of the syllabus, you see the college's mission statement. And then we're going to go down to the next link below, which is your course information. And so hi there. Welcome to class. And so, so a couple things I want to point out in your course information. And I try to keep these dates updated each unit that we go through, and you'll have a total of 7 units. And then the 8th week or the 8th unit, that's where your final exam is going to be housed, as well as any review lecture sessions that we have. So I try to do a review session prior to your midterm and prior to your final exam so that you have yet another opportunity to ask any questions that you might have, as well as we just review the information. We kind of fine tune it down to the information that's that's really critical that you know for your exams. One of the things that you will have in some of your courses is some memorization. This course happens to be one of those, just because you're thrown into a new topic that you're probably more than likely not very familiar with. So there is some memorization involved, but I try to, in the lecture, incorporate why it's important for you to know this information, because it's going to help you in your future career as a hearing instrument specialist. So you'll see the course title, you'll see Fall 19. It's a 3-hour course. This course is fully online. Some of your courses will be fully online and some of your courses will be hybrid. So if you see that it is a hybrid course means that you have a lab component where you'll either be required to attend a virtual lab like what we're attending right now, or you'll be required to actually come to campus to attend labs. And even some of our students in the past who have lived in other states, who were not required to physically attend labs, they still chose to travel in to attend the labs. And I would highly recommend that you should at least consider doing that, because it's so helpful. And students time and time again tell us that physical attendance at lab sessions is very beneficial. But it's not something that we're going to require of you. You may have to dial in virtually, okay? So because we're a fully online class, you'll see the class begins today, and then down below that you will see that we are required to do a proctored event for your class. So I don't like to make students do a proctored event as a midterm or a final exam, because that requires you to go to a testing center or to use ProctorU, which does cost you money. So what I prefer to do is I prefer to schedule a one-on-one session with you. And when I schedule a one-on-one session with you, this is what we do, what we're doing right now, okay? Except you get just one-on-one time with me. And so what we use that time for is for you, not for you to sit and listen to me lecture, but we use that time to talk about your grade. We use that time to talk about any concepts that maybe you need some clarification on. We use that time to talk about life, whatever it is that you want to talk about or that you have additional questions. I typically only schedule those sessions for 15-20 minutes. And then if you decide you want to use 30 minutes, that's perfectly fine. So the session is really designed for you as a one-on-one advising session, and then just to give you an opportunity to ask any questions, even if they're program related. You know, when do I need to fill out my application to be accepted into the program? When are final exams? When, you know, what are any questions that you might have? We use the time to answer those questions for you, okay? Anyone have any questions so far? No?
Nope.
Okay, great. So I do have your unit dates. Each unit is a two-week time period. So typically every 2 weeks you're taking a unit quiz, which is anywhere from 10 to 20 points. And all of those quiz questions may actually end up appearing on your midterm or on your final. So every 2 weeks you'll be taking a quiz, and then within a week after that I'll be providing you with feedback. Then your midterm and your final exams will be take-at-home exams. Open book, open note. I'm like the easiest teacher in the whole wide world. But you do have to know some of the material. Otherwise, you might be sitting there for a half a day taking one quiz, which is not cool. So, But they are open book, open note, because your proctored event is our one-on-one session for advising, which I think is really, really important. If your grades are lacking, we're going to talk about it. If you're not getting your work done, we're going to talk about it, okay? If you skip out on me on the advising session, I will hunt you down and find you and make you talk to me, all right? And I promise, you know, we run into this every semester with students who are actually absolutely terrified to reach out to the instructors. Don't be afraid to reach out. Whatever you have going on, if you're communicating that with me, then you're always allowed to turn assignments in late if you need to. You know, as long as you don't abuse the privilege. If you abuse the privilege, then I have to take it away from everyone. So how many of you, and you can just raise your hand or tell me, but how many of you have taken online classes before? Okay. So Matt has, Erica has, who else? No? Okay. Ms. Alexander, you have to tell me how to pronounce your first name. Can you tell me how to pronounce your first name?
Keep talking to you. Keep talking to you. Erenika.
Erenika. Okay, I got it. So I didn't want to say that wrong. All right. So, you know, what we'll do again is we'll do those one-on-one advising sessions, but you can reach out to me, any challenges that you have. My internet's been down for a week. My quiz is gonna be late. Or I had a death in the family, or I have a sick child, anything. I mean, you will find that our instructors in our program are about some of the easiest instructors to get along with, I assure you. But again, you don't want to abuse the privileges that we give you. Because it looks like we've got 24 students in the class. So I have a lot of students that I'll have to keep up with this semester. So try your best to get your stuff in on time, because when you're in online courses, the course keeps going. If you get behind, it is twice as hard for you to catch up, okay? And so that's not a situation where I want to see you get into. So you have a lot of freedom in your online courses, and the freedom is that you get to sit down and you get to work on your coursework whenever it's convenient for you. Okay, if you decide to do assignments at midnight, hey, that's your deal. You do it. You do what works for you. Because most of my students, most of you are non-traditional students, meaning this might be your second career that you're going into or your third career that you're going into. And so most of you probably work full-time or part-time. Most of you have children. And most of you are closer to my age as opposed to being younger. So I understand that everyone has life, and life happens. Life happens with me. So there will be times whenever I run behind as well. And I hope that you all will be forgiving with me as well. Because I do get behind at times too. Okay? Any questions about that? So communication is key. So all you have to do is shoot me an email, shoot me a text message. Those are the best ways to get in touch with me, because I have both on my cell phone, okay? So if I'm in clinic during the day and you need to get a message to me, if you email me or if you text message me, I'll see it right away, okay? And I'll know that you have something going on, and it may take me a little bit before I call you back or before I text you back, but just shoot me a message, and that's the best way to communicate. Okay? I'm great with phone. If you want to call me, know that if I'm with a patient, I won't be able to answer, but I'll be able to get back with you as soon as I can. Text message is quick because I can answer it real quick, and then we can move on. All right, any questions about that? Okay. All right, so now we'll go down to, and you see that I have those dates lined out. I have your midterm exam period. So you'll have a week to complete your midterm, October the 6th through October the 12th. And then your final exam is December the 5th through December the 13th. Okay? So I try to give you a full 6 to 7 days in order to complete those 2 exams. And again, they're take at home, they are open note, they are open book. So there's no reason why anyone should do poorly on their midterm or their final exam, which is a majority of your grade. All right. Okay, so I have a calendar in there. It also shows you your fall break, October the 14th. Your textbook requirements. Does anyone have any questions about the textbooks? Does everyone have their textbooks?
I will have mine in a couple of days.
Okay, great. You won't really have much reading. You'll have a 2-week period to get your reading done, and you have PowerPoints and notes. We've had the privilege, you'll see instructor information below, and we have had the privilege to have Dr. Ted Venema actually do lecture sessions for us in this course. So one of the things that I may be popping in from time to time is either Dr. Venema will join us and he'll do a special lecture session, and he's phenomenal. You will all love him. Or I'll be popping in a recorded session from the last course over the same topic, so you'll have an opportunity to watch that as well. The PowerPoints and the notes match up with Dr. Venema's lectures. So he's a phenomenal speaker and an instructor in the program. He's great to work with. So you'll be seeing his name from time to time, okay? Or you'll at least be hearing his name from me. All right, I'm going to scroll back up to the top. And course policies and procedures, it talks about attendance. And this one's very important. So you all have logged into the course. You're doing great. You're here. You should be here. If not, you're going to watch the recorded session later. But one of the things that I want to bring to your attention, if I start seeing that you haven't submitted a quiz, and I look and you've missed 14 consecutive days in the course, I have to withdraw you. So it's very important that you're logging in, that you're reading your announcements, that you're checking your email, and you're participating in the course. And so just know that on the 14th day, if I haven't seen you and you haven't logged in, I'll be withdrawing you from the course. Then if you start submitting assignments again, then we'll re-enroll you back into the course. But just know that they're very strict on that policy, and I have no workarounds for that. So goodness gracious, log in and participate in class, okay? It's really easy to do because I don't like to withdraw anyone. Unless you just flat have no intentions of attending, then you should withdraw yourself. Don't let me withdraw you. You do it yourself. You take it upon yourself to do it. All right, so you'll see program director information, Rebecca Kraus, and then you'll see our Dean of Allied Health, Dr. Sherry Taylor, and there's their contact information. If you ever want to contact them and complain about me, there's their information. That's where you do it, okay? All right, hopefully it doesn't come to that point. But if you have questions, I'm here to help you be successful. Know that I want you all to succeed. I like to see completion rates high in my class. I don't like to see students dropping out right and left and not really knowing why. And then if you have any special needs, whether it's extra time on your quizzes or you need any accommodations whatsoever, you go under student needs and you can see where you contact academic services, okay? All right, so back over to the left-hand side, we're gonna pop back to the home page, and every time you go to the home page, you're going to see my little VW van, and you're going to see a home button, and then you're going to see coursework. So after you read through the announcement on that front page, you click into coursework, that's going to take you to your units, okay? I typically don't open units until a couple of days before it's time for you to start the next unit, because I really like for students to kind of stay on topic with the course and not work way ahead. Because if you work way ahead, you're going to miss important information, bits and pieces. So it's really important that you kind of stay on task. So whenever you go into Unit 1, of course, it's open and it's ready for you all to start working on. If you try to go into Unit 2, it's going to tell you that it's not available because I haven't published it yet. So a couple days before the next unit opens, I'll actually publish it at that time. You'll be able to get in a couple of days early, but that kind of keeps us all on the same page. And then too, that keeps you from asking questions in Unit 3 when we're just working on Unit 1, and it makes my life easier if I'm not bouncing back and forth. So I don't have to think so hard about where you're at and what your question might be. So under your coursework, you'll see your reading assignment, and again, you've got 2 weeks to complete your reading assignment. And then it goes over the lecture for tonight, which is really just kind of an orientation to the course and get you comfortable with what you're looking at. And then you have a discussion board to be working on as well. And I did have a good question from a student earlier today about the discussion board assignment. So I'm going to go ahead and click in there. And it's nice because you can get to these links a couple different ways. But underneath each unit, you should have everything right there on the front page that you know you need to work on for that unit. So under the getting to know you discussion, that's where we get to know each other better. And so I'll be sharing a little bit of information about myself, and then you all will be sharing information about you. And so I'm just looking for a post just with you sharing a little bit about yourself. Tell us about your interest, what your academic goals are, your career goals, and most importantly, what do you hope to learn and achieve in this course? And then the icebreaker is to share an interesting fact about yourself or an accomplishment in your life that you would like to share with the class. And then thirdly, if you were diagnosed with a severe hearing loss and money were no object, would you be ready to wear hearing instruments? Why or why not? And so we always have some really good discussion amongst each other just on these short little tidbit topics. But it really does help me get to know you better, and it helps all of you learn a little bit about me as well as learn about your other classmates. Because this is where we're going to start bonding and forming our relationships. And you can't have too many friends in life, especially when you're going through some of these classes and you have questions. You may not feel comfortable asking me a question, but Christy, you might feel comfortable asking Matthew a question, or one of the other students in the class. So it's really important that we build relationships, build our little community within our classes, because a lot of these relationships will last you a lifetime. So you typically stay in touch. You'll click with certain classmates, and you can ask each other questions. You can form study groups. We can set up, within Zoom, we can set up meeting rooms for you all to meet, chat with each other without instructors in attendance, and study together, ask each other questions or talk about certain topics. So it's really important to try to get involved with a study group, because that really helps you throughout the program if you have some of those relationships established, so that you feel like you're not out there all alone floating around trying to figure it out. Okay? So a part of the discussion board too is that you'll do it's a 2-part assignment. So you'll do one part is just sharing information about you. And then the second part of the assignment is going back in and replying to 2 other students' posts. So that way you start some conversation with each other, not just with me, the instructor. Okay? All right. So let me go back up to the top. We're going to go back to the home page. And then you can see it's under your to-do list. That getting to know you discussion will be under your to-do list to do. So you can access it there, or you can access it under Unit 1. Or you can also access it in this left-hand menu under discussions. So there's 3 different ways to get to your assignment, okay? All right. And then your quiz 1 will be due by Sunday, September the 1st. I did have a student ask me earlier today. I tried to do the quiz, but it wouldn't let me select any answers within the quiz. And I said, well, today is day 1 of the class. I'm a little surprised that you're already ready to do the quiz when we haven't had any lectures over the material yet. I said, but you can't do the quiz because it's not open yet. I haven't opened it yet for you to be able to take it. So it's probably not going to open until this weekend. And then you'll still have a full 7 days in which to complete it. But I highly advise that you wait until the end of that 2nd week to make sure that you've had plenty of time to review the material before you take the quiz, okay? Because all those quiz points are very important. They add up, and you don't want to miss too many of those points. So it's not open yet, so don't try to take it yet, okay? And then you also have a Unit 1 assignment. I'm going to go ahead and click in there. And so, again, I highly recommend that you don't try to do this assignment until you've had time to hear the lectures and do your reading material. And then it's just a quick quiz. It's worth 10 points. And so any questions that you have on that, know that you can ask, okay? So it looks like a foreign language right now, and there's just some sound waves there. But by the end of the 2nd week, you'll feel more comfortable with being able to complete it, okay? All right, so back to the home button, back to coursework, and that's Unit 1 in a nutshell, all right? And so there is, at the bottom of the page, you'll see some notes from me. Again, a lot about the information that I've already talked with you about. You know, we'll be getting together via Zoom. Everything's in your Unit 1 folder. This lesson will run for 2 weeks. Be sure and read your syllabus, do your discussion board, and then at the very bottom are your notes and your PowerPoints to accompany your reading assignment, okay? And so you should be able to click on the link and it will pull up your notes, your PowerPoint. I highly recommend that you print them and then you put them in a binder. I'm not saying that you have to do that, but I recommend that you do because it's easy for you to pull out that binder and access everything. Whenever Dr. Venema does his lectures, whenever I do my lectures, we'll be going off the notes and the PowerPoints. It's good that you have them printed and in front of you because then you can take notes as we talk, okay? And so that way you're not writing everything, but you're writing down important highlights that you hear from us. So always have your notes and your PowerPoints printed and ready to go. Those PowerPoints, you can print 3 to a page or 6 to a page in order to save paper. Some of them are kind of long, I apologize. It's just a lot of material. But it's easier to have those and have bullet points as opposed to reading the entire book, which we don't want to make you do that because students won't do it anyway. I was a student once. Students won't read the books. We get it. So we try to give you the bullet points and the highlights to pull out the important information that you need to be the best hearing specialist that you can be. Okay? All right, any questions so far? No? Okay, so also down the left-hand side, you'll see discussions, you'll see assignments. I'll click on assignments, and you can kind of see assignments that will be coming up, whether it's quizzes, discussions, or written assignments. You'll see lots of them there. Most of them are not published, so you can't actually see them yet. And then down below that are your grades. And so I'll be able to pull grades by student, but you will be able to see an individual view of your grade book as well, which is very helpful. So you can kind of track your grade over the semester. There's a link for Office 365. There's a link for library resources, for Google Drive. Also additional settings, which you shouldn't need to use that much. All right, and then down the right-hand side, those are a lot of tabs that I'll use. Course analytics, I always run those on your exams. That way, if I have poor exam questions, let's say I give you a quiz and everyone misses number 5, we throw number 5 out. And so course analytics is a quick way for me to look at that to see if there are poor questions within your exams that we need to get rid of. So it only benefits the students whenever we run those analytics. And I typically do that after every quiz and after every exam. Because, you know, sometimes I'm writing a test question at midnight and it sounds really good at midnight, and at 7 a.m. it doesn't sound so good, okay? So we want to make sure that we're being very fair to each of you as far as the exams are concerned and your quizzes. Okay. Again, any questions? Clear as mud?
Nope. Clear?
Okay, good. So I think you probably saw on the Zoom sessions, let's just talk about that real quick. So session 1, which is tonight, it's at 7 p.m. And then session number 2, I'll be doing another orientation next Monday night at the same time. So obviously you attended the first session. You do not have to feel obligated to attend session 2 unless you just want to, okay? And you're more than welcome to join again. Sometimes there are good questions that come about that maybe didn't come up tonight, but that will come up next time. Or you may have questions once you've had a little bit of time in the course and you've navigated around. Again, if you have a question, a good place to put that question so that it benefits other students is under discussions. I recommend that if you have a question for the instructor, that you post it right there, because then when I respond to you, all the students will see it, okay? That way I'm not answering the same question about 10 times or 24 times. So these are questions that are related to the course. If it's a question about your own personal grade or you have something personal going on, obviously you don't want to post it there for everyone to see. You'll want to notify me separately, either through an email or even a text message, okay? All right, and then after that, we're actually going to try, because I don't know, what I always try to do is I always try to accommodate a majority of the students. So some students want a daytime session. Some students want a nighttime session after kids have had their baths and are settled to bed. So what I'll do for the Zoom session, going forward, whenever we start doing the lectures, is I'll probably send out a survey to all the students and ask you if you would prefer a daytime session or an evening session. So originally I thought I would do Thursdays is at 11:30, which is at, you know, a lunch hour. and that might work for some students, but I know it won't work for all students. Or we could look at doing a Thursday evening at 8 o'clock. So I'll probably send out a survey and just ask all of you to complete it as far as when you would like to have your sessions. And then I'll just accommodate a majority of the class. And if a majority of the class says evening time, I'll do them in the evenings. If a majority of the class says 11:30 or 12 o'clock during the day, then I'll do that. Okay? So just know that a survey will be coming out this week. And if you can please take the time to vote on the survey, because your vote counts. If you don't vote, then you can't complain about when the sessions are. All right? So I'll at least give everyone an opportunity to choose. I'll be flexible. I'll be as flexible as I can. All right?
Okay.
So we'll just bring our sandwiches and do it at lunchtime, or we'll do it in the evening, just depending on what accommodates everyone. Okay? All right, any other questions before we sign off?
No.
That means I did a good job. Maybe.
Yeah.
We'll find out, right? Okay, good. All right. So again, next Monday, same time, same bat channel for the second orientation session, but again, you're not required to attend. And then in the meantime, watch for the survey that comes out so we can try to figure out when to do our lecture sessions. Our first lecture session will start next week. Okay? And we'll have a lot of material to cover in a short amount of time. All right? And then after that, the sessions will just be every week, so we'll be a little bit more on track then. Okay?
That's good.
Okay.
All
So,
right, great. Yes.
so next week, we're going to go over the notes and everything in PowerPoint?
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay.
So next week I'll have an orientation session just like we're doing tonight. So you're welcome to attend that if you want, or you can just go back and watch the recording. And then I'll also schedule the first lecture session where I'll actually be lecturing over Notes PowerPoint. Okay?
Okay.
Good to
All right.
see you. You were kind of hiding down there at the bottom. I didn't realize you were here, Tim.
You know, I came on late because of the, anyway, so.
Okay. It's all good. You made it.
Yeah.
So now you know how to do it, right? You learned,
Exactly,
we all learned
right.
something new today. That's what Matt said too.
Exactly.
First one he's attended. So, and they
Okay.
really are. I mean, they're great because I'll share the screen and when we're going over the notes and the PowerPoints, I'll be sharing the screen while I'm
Okay.
doing lecture, but then we'll all see each other too. That way, if we have questions or whatever, this is our class time. This is time for us to have conversation.
Okay.
And this is time for you to ask questions. So, all right.
All right.
Anything else?
Nope.
We
Okay.
good?
No,
All
it's all
right.
good.
Okay, great. So we're going to sign off. I'm going to send out the survey. So I need all of your input as far as when you want to have your sessions.
Okay.
Okay.
You bet. You bet. We'll do.
All right. See you.
All right. Bye.
All right,
Have
thank
a
you.
good night.
Appreciate it. Nice to meet
Thanks.
you.
Bye.
Nice to meet you too.
Bye-bye.